Greater Media Broadcast News.
Welcome to another edition of Greater Media Broadcast News. I'm Susie Chiet, and here are this week's top headlines from Central New Jersey. The local economy may not fully recover until early 2015. That's according to some experts who note that a 1% increase in jobs since last December and a budding housing market is helping to return the state to economic health. Despite these positive trends, they still caution that New Jersey is around 100,000 jobs short of its previous peak. And some of the state's top industries, such as shore tourism and casinos, have yet to turn around. But the Garden State was one of the fastest growing economies in the country last year, with an unemployment rate that is now lower than that of 44 other states. Experts say with a few years of growth and some smart decisions on the local, state, and federal levels, New Jersey can have a full recovery. For more information about the state of the local economy, see your Greater Media newspaper today. A facility in Woodbridge will be bringing medicinal marijuana to the area. Let's turn to Jessica D'Amico for the full story.
A medicinal marijuana facility has received the green light from the State Department of Health to offer an alternative treatment center in Woodbridge. A company called Compassionate Care Centers received the permit to launch the center after undergoing the Department of Health's comprehensive review process. This is the first alternative treatment center to begin growing marijuana in central New Jersey. It's the third licensed alternative treatment center in the state, with the other two in Montclair and Egg Harbor Township. If all goes as planned, the facility will open November 15th, which will allow time for growing the product. Woodbridge Mayor John McCormick said the facility will employ 50 people and it will improve the look of its future location along Route 1 North. Back to you, Susie.
And now we turn to Mark Rosman with more headlines from this week's papers.
A hearing will be held in State Superior Court in Toms River this Friday, August 16th. The question involves a petition that has been put forth by a group of Jackson residents who would like to give the entire township the ability to vote on a binding question in November as to whether the municipality should start its own in-house legal firm. Right now, when Jackson has a legal question, they hire outside attorneys to perform this work. The residents who are putting forth the petition believe there could be an overall savings if they did the work in-house, as other municipalities have gone to this system in the recent past. This is a question that puts residents who are trying to seize some power and force change in their community against municipal officials who in some ways are trying to hold on to the way that business has been done for many years and retain the services of an outside legal firm. The hearing in Superior Court involves the specific wording of the ballot question and the township's belief that everything must be in place just perfectly to allow that question to go on the ballot. This is an issue that bears some watching for residents who at the end of the day could save some money if Jackson moves to an in-house legal firm.
And now we turn to Jack Murtha with a story about the importance of cardiac health among student athletes.
Sudden cardiac episodes pose one of the greatest unforeseen dangers for athletes on the playing field. Just last year, Red Bank Regional High School lost 2 student athletes to heart-related conditions. Now, school officials and staff members of the Monmouth Medical Center, a Barnabas Health affiliate, are doing their part to try to prevent that from happening again. They held an information session at the school last week. And this week, Barnabas performed free EKG screenings for all students enrolled in the fall athletics program. So that's really important because New Jersey does not require student athletes to get the screenings before they play sports. In addition, many insurance companies refuse to pay for EKG screenings unless somebody shows a prior symptom of a heart problem. So here's the kicker. Many individuals who have these heart problems don't show a single symptom. In fact, the first symptom could be death. So sometimes athletes, I know you get this strong personality, you're tough, you must go on, but you have to think of your heart because a little screening can save you the rest of your life. For more information, check out this week's edition of the Atlanticville, the Independent, and the Hub.
Other important headlines include a statewide crackdown on drunken drivers. Local and state police will conduct sobriety checkpoints and roving patrols to look for motorists who may be drinking and driving. The The Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over campaign will span from August 16th to September 2nd. For more details about the program, see a local Greater Media newspaper. A proposal to share municipal courts between Tinton Falls, Eatontown, and Monmouth Beach cleared its first hurdle last week when the Tinton Falls Council approved the measure. The resolution aims to save money and resources by consolidating court services between the three towns. NJ Transit has rescinded a $300 annual fee to maintain a proposed 9/11 memorial at the South Amboy train station after city officials expressed outrage. The monument will include a 10-foot piece of steel from the fallen Twin Towers. In an effort to prevent power outages during this year's hurricane season, JCP&L will be clearing vegetation in 45 more municipalities this year. The company has already cleared more than 2,500 circuit miles across the state in an effort to protect against tree-related storm damage. And here's Tom Castles with a story about a Navy SEAL who is surpassing expectations by becoming an author of children's books.
So Donald Walsh is a pretty interesting fellow. He grew up on the Jersey Shore, and like most kids who grow up on the Jersey Shore, spent a lot of time in the water and at the beach. But what for most kids phases out as a hobby, for Mr. Walsh became a full-on obsession. As he grew older, he completed a bunch of swimming trips that were nothing short of miraculous. His first trip was 12.5 miles around the island of Key West in Florida. He also swam 21 miles down the Mays Landing River in New Jersey and completed the 28.5-mile trip around the island of Manhattan twice. To cap that off, in 2006, he became the first person from New Jersey to swim around the Isle of Jersey in the English Channel, and that was an astounding 41.5-mile trip. But obviously, Mr. Walsh knows that not everyone can brave the waters like he can. So he wrote a children's book to help people learn the ins and outs of water safety. In his book called Teach the Beach, a brother-sister duo head down to the Jersey Shore for a nice summer of fun, where they meet a bunch of aquatic creatures who show them the ins and outs of water safety. The book came out this past July and can now be bought at Amazon.com or directly from Mr. Walsh at www.teachthebeach.net.
Thanks, Tom. And now we turn to Gloria Stravelli with an update on the local art scene.
What do you do with the turmoil that results when you take an emotional hit? If you're immensely creative, you turn those feelings into making art. Like Allenhurst artist Steve Cote, whose exhibit Side Effects May Vary is at the Long Branch Free Public Library throughout the month of August. Cote channeled disappointment into a frenzied inspiration, creating these 25 paintings on exhibit in about 5 months. Influenced by avant-garde artists and street art, he's developing a reputation for imaginative use of mixed media paintings and a growing body of colorful text-laden work. A landscaper and college student by day, he worked long hours into the night to create the work's mixed media paintings on display. You can see the exhibit at the library, which is located at 328 Broadway in Long Branch. The Monmouth Museum is mounting another installment of its New Jersey Emerging Artists series. In this exhibit, which runs through September 15th, the lyrical abstract paintings of Red Bank artist Dawn DeSico are highlighted. DeSico cites rhythm and music as her muse. The New Jersey Emerging Artists series focuses up-and-coming artists in New Jersey who have not yet had a solo exhibit, and it's a venue the museum provides. The museum is located on the Brookdale Community College in Lincroft. Go out and support the arts in your community today. It will add zest to your life.
What novelist transplanted from Wyoming is also New Jersey's favorite columnist? Here's About a Minute with Greg Bean.
New Jersey is the most densely populated state in the nation. One of its great beauties is that you can still find places to enjoy quiet solitude, to be by yourself with your thoughts and contemplate the great questions of the day. And yesterday, August 13th, you could find that quiet solitude in many of the state's polling places as a handful of hardy residents came out to exercise their most sacred obligation in this democracy, voting. It's just too bad that if the numbers I looked at this morning are close to accurate, taxpayers will pay about $25 for every vote cast in that special election to fulfill the remaining 15 months of U.S. Senator Frank Lautenberg's term. Lautenberg, as you know, passed away in June. Newark Mayor Cory Booker, who's been running for the Senate since he graduated from high school, was a clear front runner going into that election. But the last thing Governor Chris Christie, who everyone knows is running for president in 2016, but has to win re-election to the governor's chair first, the last thing he wanted was to have Booker's name on the same ballot as he was in November, because he was afraid it would diffuse attention from his own stellar self and maybe even energize Democratic voters. So he came up with this weird special election scenario for the primary election to the Senate seat, which he would have in August, and the final election in October. So it would all be over by the time the big dance, the general election, came around in November. New Jersey hasn't sent a Republican to the Senate in over 40 years, and Booker had a commanding lead in the polls going into the primary. We still had a few challengers on the Democratic slate. U.S. Representatives Frank Pallone and Rush Holt wanted to escape the dysfunctional House and hoped the dysfunctional Senate would be a better alternative. And State Assembly Speaker Sheila Oliver, who probably needed an escape more desperately than most. The Republicans came up with a couple of sacrificial tomato cans, candidates of their own, former Bogota Mayor Steve Lonigan and Alita Eck, a physician from Franklin Township, both of them Tea Party darlings, to round out the bill. As expected, Booker mopped up the field, but since the primary cost about $12 million and only about 500,000 voters showed up, 8.7% of the registered voters in the state, we come up with that cost per vote tally that I mentioned earlier. And the October charade will cost $12 million more. Thanks, Governor Christie. Maybe now you could tell us where all that money we're spending on these goofy special elections will come from. That's right. You saved us $25 million by vetoing that early voting bill recently. This makes a lot more sense.
Greater Media Newspapers is excited to announce the launch of our solar digital bus stops. Our first stops have gone up in Freehold and Howell and can be seen while driving along Route 9. Put your name out there and get in front of 40,000 cars that drive along Route 9 every day, as well as the commuters who take the bus. Your message will get immediate delivery to your targeted audience. Don't miss out on this limited opportunity. Contact us at 732-833-5100.
For more in-depth coverage and additional stories, see your local Greater Media newspaper today. I'm Susie Shia. Thanks for tuning in.